And this is all about pressure. Even though I've got paint on the brush, all I have to do is very lightly just skid across the surface just with the tip of the brush, and I just stretch the paint into streaks. Once again, same thing. See how very lightly I just caress across the top, and those blobs of paint, those placements, follow the direction that my brush is moving in. Putting a little bit more up the top. Once again, just brush it very, very gently, just pulling it in that direction it needs to go. A bit more there. Once again, the very light brush. It's a very gentle touch, that's all it is. And I have to be very careful here that I don't overdo it. I don't put too many on, otherwise it'll get too busy and it'll be too distracting. So when you do a painting from a photograph like this, you don't have to stick exactly or precisely to the photo. It's a good idea to use your judgment to know what to leave in or what to put in and what to leave out. I know these are strong decisions to make, but the painting can benefit by a lot of things being left out of a photograph. A photographer hasn't got a lot of choices with his subject. You can use filters and lighting and all that, but what he photographs is still in the work, whereas we can leave lots of stuff out if it doesn't suit us. Now you see I'm placing a long line of placements, and then I'm going to manipulate them. There's a lot of paint on there. You'll notice that I'm very light, very gentle with my strokes, not heavy-handed, and I'm brushing back the other way. I'm pushing it backwards. So I've brushed in one direction, then the other. There's a very strong marking there, so I'm very careful not to overbrush it so that it disappears in and combines with the paint underneath. I don't want to do that. I just want to manipulate it into the shape that I want, and also to follow the direction that I want. Doing the same on the other side, putting a little extra paint there, and very, very lightly. See how I'm brushing and the paint's picked up and going upwards a bit? Then I'll just turn the brush around and flick it up the other way. So I'm not only brushing down, I'm brushing up as well. And the top edges are going upwards, the bottom edges are coming downwards. I'm still retaining that direction of the fur growth. And it's coming along nicely. You can see that the blue is still present there. You don't notice it as much now, nor do you notice the white. You're aware of it when it's pointed out. But when you have a look at it, you've got the whole mass of the body there. We've got the blue shadow there. We've got the white, and we've got the dark markings. Now, that crack down the bottom there now, I'm looking at that, and remember I said earlier, highlight. Look at the way I'm putting the paint on. Same technique, only it's white this time. And I'm doing it this way so that the paint goes where I want it to. And I'm not following the whole edge because this is an uneven line. It's not perfectly straight. So different edges will catch the light, different parts of the edge will catch the light more than other parts. And my placements are in a little line that I've left a space, and on that little corner there, which would naturally catch a little bit. And you see how I've just wiped the placement a little bit with the end of the handle. I'll do the same thing, just pull it up a little bit, and I'll go up a little higher, just put a little touch up away from that corner. And you can see now where the light's coming from. I mean, if you're not aware of the light source, have a look at where edges seem to catch the light, or where shapes cast shadows. So we're looking straight on here. Now watch how I brush this. I very lightly, the brush has been cleaned by the way now, and I just very gently just pull along that edge. Look at that. That stretches that paint out. Brush back the other way so that the paint follows the edge along a bit. Do the same thing with this next placement. Just gently, no pressure, just pull it along and brush back the other way. stretch the little highlight. Look at the difference. It makes the crack more believable. It catches the light on the edge, and the other edge of the pathway or pavement comes up against the dark there, so that's a hard edge, light against dark. And it's a simple technique, and it's very effective. Now, I'm looking at the top of our little friend's nose here, and I reckon there might be a little bit of highlight on there as well. So we'll look at that, and I'm just dabbing a little bit of light. I'm putting some white on there. I haven't placed it with the handle this time. I'm dabbing it on with the brush because I want a slightly softer look. That's just a little bit of white, and it's mixing in with the colour that's already there. Once again, I'll trim up that edge a little bit. Just on the tip of the nose, just before it rolls over down into the shadow part. And under the eye there, the bottom of the eyelid, catch a little light there. These are edges that are facing towards the light, and the light's falling on them. The other eye there, just the bottom, just a little bit above below the eye opening. And see, I've turned the brush around, and the handle, I can use the handle to just tease the paint a little bit and soften it. It wipes a little bit off, but it leaves enough so that it doesn't, I've just softened the edge, in other words, just a little wipe of the handle there. And now I'm looking around for other areas, other markings that might be, and softening edges with the fan brush. There's another thing that the fan brush is good for, softening edges. I'm just going around the whole work now and looking at fine tuning, I guess. See bits here and there, and getting very close to completion now, and there'll be a little bit of, maybe a little more fine tuning, but the whole painting's come together very nicely, and I've got a little bit more. I've cleaned the brush really, there's no paint on it now, and I'm just softening things up a little bit where I feel that there's some harshness to some of the edges that stand out too much. And of course, as I'm doing this, I'm picking up paint from that area, so the brush will become a little contaminated, and I have to be aware of that. So my touching with the brush is very gentle. I just wiped it off, and now I'm just softening the markings up a little bit. I've got to be very careful here that I don't overwork it, that it becomes too blurred, too messy, too untidy. I've got to be aware of that. So I'll stop working up there. I'm coming back down to the bottom now, and that shadow area under the face. I'll have a look at that, and I've added a little bit more white, and where that lip, it flops out. They're very very floppy lips, that lower part there, and it comes out onto the surface. So I've brushed over the shadow, and I've brought that lip out a little further. It's combined with the shadow area and given me a slight greyish look, which is quite okay. But I will need to re-establish that shadow, and there's no trouble there. I needed to do that, and I've got to soften that other edge where that the colour changes against the light. Just bringing that brown down into the white a little bit. Now I'll re-establish